So you really want to know, huh? Okay then, today I'll tell you the most important things that you need to know if you want to become better at art and become a better artist faster. The first two things you need to know are this. Getting better at art is an utterly meaningless statement. Which art? Getting better at what aspect of it? Better how, exactly? More likes? More realism? More fast? Nobody knows. Just more better. And secondly, any advice that promises you a solution to your problem in only 1 minute or with just one simple fix is pretty much guaranteed to be snake oil. Now that we have alienated half of the viewers looking to become master artists after watching a 10-minute video, we can finally get to the good stuff. Because instead of offering you a quick fix for a problem you probably don't even have, I would like to provide you with something better. An alternative approach to becoming a better artist. And I'm talking about the catalog of ideas. Now, one quick note for all the people who are only really interested in improving their fundamental skills. How to draw more accurately, how to use color, see proportions. If you want to get better at those things, you have to sit down and practice. Sitting down and drawing or painting a couple of paintings a week won't do it, unfortunately. There is only one way to play the piano well, and that is to play the piano a lot. So, that's that. But now on to the real exciting part. How can you become a better artist? Well, for that we actually have to talk about writing for a change. Or more specifically, how to write a good scene. Let me explain. Let's say you're asked to write a knife-fighting scene in, say, a Chinatown. Since we're painting John Wick here, I think that's kinda apt. You probably could do that, right? There's an argument between two guys, maybe some trash talking, stabby, one guy kicks the bucket, the end. Now the question is, what do you need to write such a scene, but do it masterfully? A scene that's so good that it gets your heart racing and makes you eager to turn the pages. Well, for one you need to have a large vocabulary. The more words you have in your repertoire, the more freedom of choice you have when you're describing something. In our knife fighting scene, one guy can, of course, stab the other guy, but he can also pierce, slash, slice, or wound him. The same thing with a slightly different impact. The next thing you will need, ideally, is the ability to describe the action more figuratively. One guy can swing his knife and cut his opponent, but if the same guy's knife cuts through the air and the tip of the blade pierces his opponent's flesh, that's a whole different level of knife cuttery. Okay, what else do you need if you want to write a knife-fighting scene set in a Chinatown? Well, how about knowing a thing or two about Chinatowns and knife fights? It seems like such an obvious thing, but most people don't realize how profound this point is. Because you can't write about the things you don't know about. If you don't know what a Chinatown is, you also can't describe it. And then our little scene could be taking place anywhere. And if you've never seen a knife fight, or have no idea about fighting in general, you probably can't write a believable fight scene either. But suppose you can describe the shop signs, the lanterns, the architecture, the sounds, the smells, the foods, and everything that's going on around the characters. Well, in that case, you not only can properly set the stage, but you also have lots of options to choose from. And you can even be selective about the information you share. Now, here comes the interesting part. We now have an idea about what it might take to write a gripping scene in which two people have a knife fight in a Chinatown. But what if you wanted to start with a blank page? What if you wanted to write an epic story, but you don't even know what you want to write about? Well, wouldn't it be helpful to have options to pick from? To know stuff? To have ideas? Imagine having the freedom to choose from dozens of different settings and genres. A crime story set in medieval times, or a mystery thriller in ancient Egypt, or a fun road trip novel about two vampires and their pet crocodile. But here's the thing. You can't write a story about the things you know nothing about. The only way you could write about these things is if you either research them or, over time, build up a catalog of ideas and information that you can draw from. And that finally brings us back to becoming better artists. You can't use a technique that's foreign to you. You can't paint in a style you haven't seen before, and you can't express or reference things in your art that you don't know about. One of the best and fastest ways to improve as an artist is to expose yourself to things that will enrich your art in the future and help you build yourself a catalog of ideas. Don't get me wrong, it's essential to look at art and work on your skills. But just like how it's not enough to read and write more if you want to write better books, it's also not enough to look at art all the time if you want to become a better artist. You also need a treasure trove of ideas so that when the time comes, you aren't limited by all the things you don't know. History, mythology, movies, games, architecture, religion, all of these things can be sources for ideas and inspiration. But also other creative fields like photography, sewing, crafting, digital art, or blacksmithing even. All of which implement completely unique techniques and concepts that you probably haven't even thought of before. So what it comes down to is this: do stuff, try stuff, consume stuff. Surround yourself with things that will benefit your art in the future, and be open to finding inspiration and sources for inspiration in places that you haven't considered before. And I even have some practical advice for you this time. Something that will get you going in the right direction. But before we get to that, I'd like to thank this video's sponsor, who couldn't be more fitting for a topic like today's, and that is Skillshare. Skillshare is a great online learning community where people like you and I can get creative and learn new skills. Drawing, writing, making videos, you name it. They have thousands of classes on all kinds of different topics, and those can be a perfect starting point for a little spark of inspiration. Take a look at Kao Yoshida here and her Skillshare class, Mixed Media Animation, blending stop motion and illustration. A perfect example of what you can do and how creative you can be when you have many skills and a catalog of ideas to draw from. And at just $10 a month for an unlimited premium membership, it also doesn't break the bank. But since they're sponsoring this video, the first 1,000 who click the link in the description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium. So I highly encourage you guys to make use of that. Now, what does this all mean? Well, it means there are many things out there that will make you a better artist that have nothing to do with working on fundamental skills. Essential skills are important, but more important than that is your style and creativity. It's what makes the difference between average and exceptional artists. And for a change, I don't want to leave you with an abstract idea or concept and let you figure things out on your own, because I know how overwhelming this sometimes is and how helpful a push in the right direction can be. So instead, I want to give you some practical advice. 6 things that will get you started in the right direction to becoming a human weapons arsenal for creativity. And I don't mean 6 things that you can choose from. I mean 6 things that you ideally do over the next couple of weeks. Make yourself a dish for dinner that you've never eaten or heard of before. Play one game that you've never played before. Video game, board game, with or without people, doesn't matter. Just play a game. Watch a documentary about a subject you know nothing about. Create one artwork in a completely different medium than what you're used to. Read or listen to one book about a subject you're curious about. Think of a question, something you don't know, maybe haven't even thought of before, and then research it or look up the answer. And this could be anything. What's the oldest book in the world? How is a movie made? Or how did people in ancient Rome wipe their butts? If you don't know, by the way, the answer might surprise you. If any one of you is daring and adventurous enough to take up this little challenge, I would love to hear about your thoughts and experiences in the comments down below. And maybe even share this video with your friends so we can all finally become better artists faster. Now, big thank you to all my lovely patrons for having my back and supporting the channel and allowing me to occasionally make some more thought-heavy videos like this one without having to cave into the YouTube algorithm all the time. And if you want to support the channel too, or are feeling especially adventurous today, why not leave a comment down below and give the video a thumbs up? Or become a channel supporter yourself. And with that, friends, we're gonna bring this video to an end. Thank you all so much for watching. Happy creating to all of you out there, and yeah, have a good one. Talking to myself, still super weird.